So today guys, we are going to install the ESXi host. ESXi. To install this ESXi, we need a physical server. We will purchase one physical server. After purchasing the physical server, we will install this ESXi host. After installing the ESXi, we will create the virtual machine on this ESXi host and we will install the operating system like Windows Server 2012, Windows Server 2016, 22, etc. Okay, so you will take physical server, then you will install ESXi host, then you will create the virtual machine on the top of it. So in our lab, we can't have the physical server. In place of this physical server, we will create the virtual server. The functionality of this virtual server is similar to physical server. So we'll create one physical virtual server, and on the top of this virtual server, we will install ESXi. Then we will create the virtual machine. Then we'll install the operating system. To create this virtual server, we need VMware Workstation. Okay, we have already seen from where to download this workstation. The link is available in the document. Okay, or you can Google it. You will get this workstation. So after downloading this workstation, you will install it. After installing it, you will get the interface like this. Okay, so we are going to create one virtual server. So we'll select this first option, create a new virtual machine. We'll select this option. Okay, we will go with typical, it is recommended. So we will go with the default setting. 99% will go with default setting. I will install the operating system later. So we'll install the operating system later on this virtual server. And we are going to install the VMware ESXi. So we'll select this option, VMware ESX, and which version we are going to install. We are going to install 6.7. So VMware ESXi 6.x. Then we'll click next. Okay, so where do we want to save? It is a virtual server, correct? We are going to create the virtual server, which means it is a set of files. So where do we want to save this set of files? So you need to provide the path. So we will not go with default path. We will give our own path. So we'll go to C drive. Under this C drive, we will create one folder and vSphere 7 AM batch. We'll select this folder. Under this folder, we will create one more folder, subfolder, and let us say it is ESXi 1. So we are going to save the this server in this folder, ESXi 1. So name should be appeared here. Then we'll click OK. Then we'll provide the virtual machine name. Let us provide the same name, ESXi 1. Then we'll click next. So it is giving hard disk size is 40 GB. So we'll make it 100, or you can go with 40 GB as well. So let us make it 100 GB hard disk. Then we'll click next. Okay, and we'll click finish. So your virtual server is ready, or you can say you have purchased a physical server. This is your physical server, and we need to install the ESXi now on this physical server. So we need to provide the ISO image. Okay, so either you will insert the DVD on this machine. So it is a virtual machine. So what we will do, we will provide the ISO image. So guys, yesterday we have seen I have one folder called software on my desktop, and here ISO images are there, and 6.7 U3 ESXi image is here. Okay, we will provide this path to that virtual machine, to the virtual server. So how to provide the path? You will go to the ESXi 1 server, and you will select this option, edit virtual machine settings. Then if you see here this CD DVD option, under this CD DVD option, we are not going to use the physical device here, physical drive. Okay, we are going to use the ISO image. So then we'll provide the path to that ISO image. So we'll go to desktop. On my desktop, we'll search for software folder. Under the software folder, ISO images are there. 6.7 U3 ESXi. Then we will select this ISO image. Okay, so we have given the path to the ISO image. Then we'll click OK. Then we'll power on the server. This server is not powered on, so we'll power it on, and it will detect the ISO image and it will start installing the ESXi. If you see here loading ESXi installer, it is loading these many files. So it is initializing the processor and it is adding the VM kernel now. So if you see this screen, which means the installation is going on. Here it is showing you the physical server name. So guys, we are installing the ESXi host on a virtual server. That is why we are seeing this name VMware. If it is if you are installing, let us say the ESXi on HP, so you will get the HP model number here. If you are installing Dell, you will get the Dell name here. Okay, so we are installing the ESXi host on the virtual machine on VMware Workstation. So we are getting the VMware name here, and it is loading the files here. Okay, we'll wait for the loading to be done. And if you see, it is having 4 GB RAM, 4 GB memory, and this is a processor. And guys, if you want to install, we should click continue. If you don't want to install, you should press escape to cancel. Okay, so here we are installing ESXi 6.7 and it is welcoming us. So let us click continue. Let us click enter to continue. And we need to accept the license. Okay, so how will you accept the license agreement? By pressing F11. Accept and continue. If you are not agree with the license agreement, you will select escape option and it will abort the installation. So let us press F1. Just 1 second, guys. Okay, I have pressed F11 and it is scanning for the available devices. And guys, if you see here, as we have discussed, when you install the ESXi, it should not be wherever you are installing the ESXi, that drive should not be formatted with VMFS. If the asterisk is there, which means it is formatted with VMFS. So here, if you see, we have 100 GB hard disk. We have selected 100 GB, and it is not formatted with this VMFS. It is not a VMFS partition. Okay, so we'll click enter to continue, and we need to select the keyboard language. So by default, it is US. So we'll go with default setting. and we'll click enter to continue. Okay, if you want to go back, then you will press F9, and if you want to abort the installation, you will click escape button. Okay, here it has created one username. By default, that username is called as root. Root username is already created. We need to provide the password. Okay, we need to provide the password, then confirm the password. To log on to this ESXi host, we will use root username and password. Okay, so let us give NOA123 hash dollar, confirm NOA123 hash dollar. N is in capital letter. Then we'll click enter. So it is scanning the system, and we need to confirm the installation by pressing F11. Okay, so let us press F11, and it is giving the warning. It is saying that the disk will be repartitioned, which means it will format the disk. Okay, so if you have any data, so you can go back and take the backup. If you don't have any data, you will press F11 to install it. So the installation is started here. 9% installation is done. So it required reboot. So installation is completed here. ESXi 6.7.0 has been installed successfully, and we need to press enter for reboot. It is very easy to install the ESXi. So the server will shut down and reboot. So guys, if you see here, our ESXi host is restarted, and it has got the IP address as well from the DHCP server. Okay, you can see the IP address 192.168.140.144. This IP address is provided by the DHCP, and it is saying that if you want to manage this ESXi host, you will access this host via this link. Okay, and guys, the installation is done, and We have client interfaces for vSphere. How to access the ESXi host? There are four ways to access the ESXi host. The first way is DCUI, Direct Console User Interface. Okay, this is the DCUI. This method. Okay, you see this method. If you press F2 here, so to log in to this ESXi host, we need to enter the root username and password. Login name is root, it is already created, and the password is NOA123 $. So guys, this is the DCUI. Okay, we need to press F2 one more time. Okay, then this is the interface. This is the DCUI. And if you want to configure the password, you can change the password here. And if you want to configure the network like IP address and everything, you will select this option. And if you want to restart the network management, okay, the interfaces, you will select this option. And it is having some other options as well. So we need to configure the IP address now. Okay, so to configure the IP address, we will select this option, configure management network, and you will find the host name here. By default, the host name is local host, and the IP address is 192.168.140.144. This IP address is provided to this ESXi host by DSCP. So guys, always remember this point. You should not provide the IP address to any server from DSCP. Okay, you should provide the IP address manually. If you provide the IP address from DSCP, what will happen, guys? Any idea? You have
Easy to hack it.
Change
It will be like a private.
not private.
No.
it will change. It will
Yeah,
change.
very good. It will change after some time. Okay, if the lease is expired, it will provide the another IP address. So host won't be able to access the same IP address. So it is not recommended to provide the IP address to the server from DSCP. We need to manually configure it. Okay, so we have selected that option, and you can see the interface name is Ethernet 0, and it is having VLAN option as well. But we need to configure the IP address, and we'll select this IP version 4 configuration, and we'll click enter. Okay, and it is having three options here: disable IP version 4 configuration and use the dynamic IP version 4 address. So it is like we are configuring the DSCP. We are configuring this server to accept the IP address from DSCP server. But we want to configure the IP address manually. Then we'll select this option, set static IP version 4 and network configuration. So, okay, so we'll use the down arrow. Then to select this option, we will use space bar. Okay, I am pressing the space bar here. This option is selected. Once this option is selected, this IP address, the IP address which is provided by DSCP, it is configured permanently. Okay, so if you want to change the IP address, you can change the IP address as well. Let us change the IP address. Okay, we will change the IP address from 144 to 192.168.140.144, the IP address. But we will change it to 140.10. And if you want to change the subnet mask, you can change it. So we'll go with the default subnet mask. And if you want to change the gateway is the router IP address. So you need to contact the system administrator. He will the network administrator. He will provide you the router IP address, and you will type the router ID here. So let us say our default gateway is 192.168.140.2. Okay, then we will click OK, and your IP address is configured manual. If you see here, the method is manual. The IP address is 168.140.10. Subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. Default gateway is 192.168.140.2. So we have configured the IP address using DCUI interface. Okay. And if you have DNS server, you will configure the DNS server as well. Okay. So obtain the DNS server and host name automatically. So we don't want this server to obtain the DNS server and host name automatically. We want to configure it manually. So you will use the second option, use the following DNS server address and host name space. Then again, let us say your primary DNS server is 192.168.140.2. Okay, so you will enter the IP address here and the host name. It has taken by default local host. So we'll provide ESXi1. Then we'll press OK. And if you see here, the host name is changed and the method is manual here, not the automatic method. Method is manual. And we have manually configured this IP address 192.168.140.2. And we have changed the host name to ESXi1. And what else? DNS. Okay, if you have any domain, you will provide the domain name like noa.com or noa.local, anything. Then you will click OK. And if you want to come out from this screen, you will enter escape option. Okay. So let me enter escape. So guys, it required restart. Okay, it will restart the network management. So if you press yes, it will restart and it will apply the setting. If you press no, it will not restart and settings will not be applied, whatever the changes we made. So we'll click Y. So it has restarted in the background. Okay, now if you see here, the configuration which we did, it is appearing here. Host name ESXi1, the IP address 192.168.140.10, and this is the IP version 6 option. And if you want to change the layout, you can change the layout option as well. And configure password. And this configure lockdown mode we'll discuss in our coming classes. Now guys, we have got this IP address. So using this IP address, what you will do, you will open the web browser of your computer. Okay, it should be connected to the network. And you will type this IP address 192.168.140.10. Then you will get the interface. That interface is called as VMware host client. Okay, the second way to access the ESXi host is using VMware host client. In the VMware host client, what you will do, you will open the web browser and you will type the IP address of the ESXi host. So guys, to create the virtual machine, okay, to do the advanced configurations, we can't perform them using this DCUI. We need to access this server remotely. Okay, to access the server remotely, we need computer, correct? Guys, how will you access this ESXi host? Guys, can you hear me?
Via this IP address 192.168.140.10.
Okay, via this IP address. So which means we need a computer, correct?
Yes.
So what we will do? Yeah, physical. So it is recommended to create one more virtual machine and we'll install Windows 10 operating system on this virtual machine. So let us create one more virtual machine. And this time we are going to install Windows 10, Microsoft Windows 10. And again, we'll provide the path. We'll create one more folder, Windows 10. Okay, and we'll change the name, Windows 10 client. Then we'll click next. Okay, we'll go with default setting, 60 GB hard disk, finish. Okay, again guys, on this software folder, under this software folder, I have this Windows 10 ISO image. There is one more ISO image. Yeah, this is the one. Okay, we'll go with this image and we install Windows 10 operating system. Again, we'll go to CD DVD, ISO image, browse to the ISO image. We'll go to desktop, software, ISO image, Windows 10, and we'll give the path. And we'll click OK. And we'll power on the virtual machine. It will install the Windows 10 operating system. It is saying no bootable loader found. Okay, so maybe this is the wrong ISO image. Yeah, it is here. Okay, it is not under ISO images. We'll select this English International. We'll shut down this virtual machine. We'll go to VM settings. We'll go to CD, browse, software. Under the software, we have this option, Windows 10. We'll click OK. Now we'll power on this virtual machine. It should detect it. Okay, now the installation is started. We'll wait for a few minutes. So here, the language is United Kingdom. Okay, we'll go with the default setting. We'll click next and we'll click this install now option. Okay, I don't have a product key. And we'll install Windows 10 Professional. We'll click next. We'll accept the license terms. We'll click next. And we need to install the operating system from scratch. So we'll select the second option. We'll click new, apply. And we'll click next. So it is installing the Windows now. Okay, guys, so it is installed, and we'll select the language. So it will take some time, guys. It will create some profiles, okay, and it will do some settings. So it is asking for security questions. What is your first pet name? Okay. You will give anything like dog. Second security question. What is the name of the city where you were born? Hyderabad. And childhood nickname, Asif. We'll click next. So guys, the installation is completed. So after installing the operating system on the Windows workstation, we need to install the drivers. Okay. So driver for this operating system. So how will you install it? You will go to VM, then you will select this option, install VMware tools. So this VMware tools will install the drivers. And guys, so on this desktop, we don't have the other icons. We have only two icons, recycle bin and Microsoft Edge. So we need to set up the other icons like this PC. So how will you set it up? Set them up. You will go to settings. Then you will go to personalization. Then you will go to themes. Under themes, you will get this option, desktop icon settings. Then you will select the icons which you want to set on the desktop, and you will see this PC icon here. So you will double click on this PC, and we need to install this So VMware tools, we'll double click on it. So it is installing the drivers. So after installing the drivers, it will restart the machine, it will restart the computer, then we'll configure the IP address in the same network, and we'll access this ESXi from this Windows 10 machine. We'll click finish, and we need to restart the computer. It is restarted. Let us log on to this computer. And we'll configure the IP address from the same network. So the IP address of this ESXi host is 192.168.140.10. So let us configure 140.50. And cpa.cpl. We'll wait for some time. We'll wait for a few seconds. One 192.168.140. It is 68.140.50. Subnet mask 255, and the gateway is 192.168.140.2, and DNS is also 192.168.140.2. Okay, 140.10. Then we'll click OK, and we'll ping the ESXi, which is 140.10. We'll check the connectivity first. It is pinging. Now guys, we will access this ESXi host. Okay, we'll open the browser. Okay, HTTP 192.168.140.10. HTTPS, okay, 140.10. And you will get this error. Okay, it is saying that it is not secured. So we will go to advanced and we'll continue with 192.168.140.10. It is saying it is unsafe, but we know it is safe. So we'll click this option and you will get this page. On this page, we need to provide the username and password. So what is the username, guys?
Root.
Very good. Root Nova123 $. We'll log in. Incorrect username and password. Why it is incorrect? Why it is showing incorrect, guys? We have given the same password or we did give the different password. Root. Okay, all right. We are able to log on. So this is the interface of ESXi. Okay, and you will get the name and you will get the version. What is the version of this ESXi host we have installed here? And it is 6.7 6.7.0 and status is normal and uptime, okay, it is 0.03 days. We have just installed this operating system and you will get the CPU information here, 4.7 gigahertz, the RAM, the total capacity of RAM is 4 GB and 1.1 GB is used and this much is free. And the storage is 91.09 GB. Okay. And here you will get the manufacturer name. Of this server. So we have installed the ESXi host, ESXi on our workstation. So you will get the manufacturer name VMware. So if you have installed the ESXi on any HP server, you will get HP here. If it is installed on Dell, you will get the name Dell here and model num and the CPU information is available here, the memory and so on. Okay, so the host name, IP address and everything, you will get it here, the DNS server. Okay, we will see the other options when we need them in our advanced classes. Okay, guys, so if you see here at left side, we have host option, and if you click this host option, you will get this information. And we have virtual machines option. So here you will get whatever the virtual machines are created on ESXi 1. We didn't create any virtual machines, so you will not find any virtual machine here. And you have one storage option. Okay, data store 1, the storage, the data store name is data store 1. The capacity is 92.5 GB and it supports VMFS version 6, thin provision, and we'll see. Okay, we will see the other options when we discuss storage. Okay, we have a separate topic. Then we have this networking option. Networking in the sense the virtual network. Okay, and here you can see the virtual switch. As we have discussed, guys, when we install the ESXi host, one virtual switch is created automatically. This is the virtual switch, vSwitch 0. It is default. It is created by default by ESXi, and it looks like this. This is your virtual switch. Okay, on left side we have VM network, management network. On right side we have physical adapters. As we have discussed, this virtual switch connects your virtual machines with physical adapter. Okay, so we will discuss in detail when we cover this networking topic. As of now, just try to remember this point. When we install the ESXi host, this virtual switch is created automatically. Okay, let us go back to hosts. Okay, here, if you see, it is having some other options like create virtual machine. So we can create the virtual machine by selecting this option. If you want to shut down the ESXi host, you will shut down it from here. And if you want to restart the ESXi host, you will select this option. This refresh option will refresh this page. Okay, it will not refresh, or it will not reboot the ESXi host. So let me click this option. It will reload this page. Okay. Then we have this action option. Under this action option, you can create the virtual machine from here as well. You can shut down, reboot. Okay, and it is having some other options also. Okay, so this is the interface of ESXi. Okay, guys, so we'll conclude the session here, and tomorrow what we will do, we'll create the virtual machine and we'll install the operating system on this virtual machine. Any doubt, guys?
No, sir. No, sir. Clear.
Clear, sir.
Okay, others?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, guys, so please practice this lab, install the softwares, practice this lab, and see you tomorrow. Take care. I will upload the video today. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.